Hey guys, Metal Jesus here. Today I'm talking about my top 10 favorite Game Boy Advance games. And I gotta tell you, I'm really excited to do this video because when this handheld came out, I bought one, bought a ton of games for it, and I played it every day for years. It's such a great system. And as a matter of fact, I mean, there are so many great games that I kind of need to say that if you came to this video expecting to see a matchup of maybe what your favorite games are, or even what the socially accepted games might be for this list, you might be disappointed. For instance, there's no Pokemon. I know. I'm just not crazy about Pokemon, even though I own Fire Red. But this video is gonna be pretty cool, packed with just tons of great games. And at the end of it, I'm gonna show you my collection of Game Boy Advances. I've actually got several that are pretty hard to find. Let's take a look. Coming in at number 10, The Legend of Zelda, The Minish Cap. This is an all-new Legend of Zelda adventure where you wear this mystical hat called a Minish Cap. What's interesting is that this hat speaks to you and functions like a wisecracking sidekick that allows Link to shrink down very small and explore areas only typically bugs would be able to go. Many people have called this the shortest Zelda game ever, like that's a bad thing, but personally myself, I actually prefer shorter games as long as they're very good. And not only that, but this game also has a bunch of optional side missions and items to discover on additional playthroughs. Plus the controls are great, and I really liked these graphics. It kind of reminded me of the Wind Waker graphics. At number 9 is Sigma Star Saga. The concept of this game is actually pretty interesting. What if you took a traditional 16-bit RPG and instead of dealing with random battles like you would in Final Fantasy, you battled in a shoot 'em up almost like Gradius or R-Type? And man, do I love my shoot 'em up. So this is a really interesting and unique RPG, unlike anything I've ever played. It also helps that the story is really interesting. The characters are big and colorful and kind of wacky. As a matter of fact, the dialogue is really well written in this game, which is a must for any good RPG. Now, the only knock against it is, unfortunately, that some of the battles are really unfair. And because they're kind of randomized, you're not exactly sure what you're gonna get. So there is a bit of trial and error, but if you're looking for something new and interesting, definitely check it out. Number 8 might be a bit of a surprise, and that is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. I've been playing the Tony Hawk series since the original PlayStation 1 days, and I love them actually. The first probably 3 or 4 are really great. And you know, typically these are done in 3D. They're huge open worlds, and you know, if someone would have told me that they would make a great version on the Game Boy Advance and it wouldn't be in 3D, I would have not believed them until I played this. Most of the moves that you would do in the big console version, you can do in the handheld version. And you know, the controls just feel right. I mean, I'm just kind of amazed that they were able to boil this down into this format. So if you like the Tony Hawk series, you should definitely check this out because it's pretty unique and a ton of fun. At number 7 is Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Here's another game that I just didn't know that much about, and frankly, based on the title alone, I don't think I was really that interested in playing it when I first heard about it. But to my surprise, it's awesome. At first glance, this game looks like maybe a simple platformer, but really, it's all about puzzle solving in the Mario and Donkey Kong world. Donkey Kong, that sneaky bastard, has stolen all the mini Mario toys, and you're just trying to get them back. Now you do that by hammering colored buttons that change the layout and help you solve tricky puzzles. And those puzzles just get more and more complicated as time goes on. I gotta be honest, I have definitely enjoyed many hours playing this game. It's highly recommended. At number 6 is the Golden Sun series. Now maybe I'm cheating here a little bit by including both games, but you know, to my recollection, These games were very similar and both of them were really excellent. However, to be honest, I don't really remember that much about the story. I know there's some dark forces and a band of adventurers that are trying to save mankind, blah, blah, blah. But what I do remember is just how much fun the combat and the RPG elements were. I especially enjoyed the use of the Mode 7 visual tricks that they did during combat, swinging the camera around almost in this kind of pseudo 3D fashion. Plus there were a lot of magic effects, and I don't know, just the visuals alone in this game were really awesome at the time. I didn't have anything else like it on my Game Boy Advance. At number 5, WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games. This was one of my first purchases when I got my Game Boy Advance, and I fell instantly in love with it. It's just so weird. The game has you quickly playing through over 200 bizarre micro games in rapid succession. You only get a couple seconds to figure out what to do, or you fail the micro game. Fail too many and it's game over. Now, what makes it more challenging is that the game is completely random. You have no idea what's coming up. And the better you do, the faster the game goes. This is the perfect game if you only have just a couple minutes to play on the go. But don't be surprised if hours end up melting away. Coming at number 4 is Astro Boy Omega Factor. I think most people are probably familiar with Astro Boy, but if you're not, well, Astro Boy is an old Japanese manga series that started in the 1950s and has a rich heritage and a worldwide following. You play as the cute little Astro Boy, who's a robot with a human mind, and he has 7 abilities to take on people like Atlas, Blue Knight, and 40 other characters in the game. I'm pretty sure this is the first Astro Boy game I've ever played, and what I like about this is that it's a fun mix of the beat-em-up genre and also platforming. But it doesn't take too long to play, which is something that you guys know I can appreciate, but it does reward you for replaying it after it ends. Number 3 is Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. So obviously Nintendo heavily supported the Game Boy Advance with a ton of great Mario games, but Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga is my favorite. As a matter of fact, it's my favorite Mario series really on any Nintendo system. I love the series on the Game Boy Advance and also on the DS, but I also really enjoyed the similar games, the Paper Mario games that were on the GameCube and the Wii. And what I like about them is that they really appeal to me as a role-playing game, but yet they fit so perfectly in the Mario universe. Also, these games are hilarious. There's tons of great personality in this series, and I just love it so much. Luigi especially just steals the show. He's so funny. If you consider yourself an RPG fan and you haven't tried this game out, I highly recommend it. It's excellent. Number 2 is Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Around the time that this game was released, I took a week-long road trip from Seattle all the way down to LA for E3. And I went with my wife and a friend, and we all carpooled down there. But anyways, I played this game religiously for a solid week. I must have put 100 hours into it. This is a turn-based strategy game that is incredibly deep. I mean, there is so much character customization and really varied battle scenarios. It's funny because here I am in Los Angeles going to E3, seeing thousands of games, and the only game I really cared about was on my Game Boy Advance, was this game. It was just so incredibly epic, so deep, and I was really blown away by it. I mean, I definitely got my money's worth. And now, at number 1, Metroid Zero Mission. Metroid Zero Mission is easily my favorite Game Boy Advance game, but it really is my favorite Metroid game of all time too. It's a reboot of the original NES version, but it has all new graphics, challenges, and an even more fleshed out plot. Also, the soundtrack in this game, oh my god, so good, so creepy, I just love it. But I guess the reason why it's number 1 is because this game became, to me, the reason to own the Game Boy Advance. You know, every system has that one special game that You could sell off every other game that you have for that, but you'd have to keep that one game. And man, Metroid Zero Mission was that game. When I finished it, I was just like, it was like finishing a great book or finishing one of your favorite movies. It's just that good. And I should also mention that they released another really good Metroid game on the Game Boy Advance, and that is Metroid Fusion. And I enjoyed that actually quite a bit, although for me, it just didn't have the magic of Zero Mission. And there is my favorite top 10 Game Boy Advance games, and I have to tell you, it was so much fun coming up with this video because all last week, I just sat down and played these games and many more just to come up with a list and capture the gameplay footage, just to make sure I was, I was right on target. And yeah, it was pretty fun to do. And I also promised I would show you some of my Game Boy Advance handhelds. So let's take a look. Here's my very first Game Boy Advance I ever owned. I love this red color. And I bought this pretty soon after they announced the new SP redesign, the clamshell that would close and protect it. Plus, I really like the form factor. This black one here I found at a garage sale, and lady sold it to me for only $5. And I thought, it's not bad to have a backup. Later on, I found at a little garage sale this version right here, which actually is pretty well sought after. And I only paid like $1 or $2 for it. It's the Pokemon Center one that I guess you could only buy in New York. Later on at another garage sale, I was excited to find this. This is actually a pretty well sought after model 101 that has the really bright backlit screen, way brighter than the original. And then finally down at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, I picked this up, which is my all-time favorite Game Boy Advance because it's a best of both worlds. It has this really cool SpongeBob SquarePants design to it, so it's kind of whimsical, but then it's also the Model 101 with the really strong backlit screen. All right, well there's a quick look at the different models of Game Boy Advances I own. Down in the comments below, I'd love to know what your top 10 Game Boy Advance games are, and as always, I want to thank you for watching my channel, and thanks for subscribing. Take care.